that can see.
Where there's thunder, there's lightning. John Nada. This is going to be more or less a free-form broadcast today. Something that I've spent a lot of time thinking about over the years, and particularly over the past couple weeks now. And I've mentioned it here and there on the program, but I think within MGTOW, for a lot of us, whether we want to admit it or not, there is this sense, at least I can say for me, of alienation at times. It seems like as you get older, and it's quoted in Any Given Sunday where Al Pacino's character says, when you get old in life, things start getting taken from you. You start to lose things. You start to lose people, more specifically. And in December of this past year, I lost my grandma, who I, always had been close to and had spent a lot of time with over the years. And it just really makes you kind of reflect and think on things. There's been other things, of course, it's gone on throughout the course of things, but it just seems like the one constant with things in life is that there are no people who are constant. If you're lucky enough to have a good family, you can rely on that to an extent. But one thing that, I've never, in school I had a pretty good core group of friends, in middle school, high school, so on and so forth. And, I went to college, and the funny thing about college is like the people that you're friends with the first semester, and you have all these great times and everything, just, breaking the new ground on being a college student and everything else. They're never the same people that next year, or that next semester. And, so I had some friends in college as well, but, it's always been kind of like just a small core group at the most, or maybe one or two other people. And that lasts for a time, but, and I've mentioned it here on this program, when I was in the Army, it's kind of when I really started. I've always kind of been going my own way, and I think a lot of that started in college, but that was really when I guess, I had some people that I hung out with here and there. I really only ever had maybe one or two or three really close friends. There was one particular guy that was a roommate of mine in the barracks, and he was one of the few people that really knew all that much about me and knew a lot of what I thought about things. And then there was another guy that we did hang out quite a bit, and we're kind of interested in some of the same hobbies. But, interestingly enough, he got into a relationship and got married, and that was kind of the end of that, Of course, this is towards the end of me being there anyway. So I've always kind of been an introvert. I can be a very extroverted person if I need to be, but I've always kind of been the type of person that kind of wants to just kind of do their own thing, and I don't mind for the most part, most of the time, sitting around the house and just doing absolutely nothing, or surfing YouTube or watching a movie or whatever the case may be. But as you can imagine, it's not very conducive for going out there and meeting people and making friends with people. And it's increasingly difficult as you get older, or at least it seems it's increasingly difficult with age to really make any kind of long-lasting, worthwhile friendships with people. The other part of that is I've moved around the country so much. I lived in 3 or 4 different states, and it's not as if a lot of these people that I had a girl I dated a while back that brought up the whole issue of I never talked about my friends, or didn't really seem to have that many friends. But she had loads of friends. She has a lot of friends. Or at least, they seem like friends. when the chips are down, I think that's really the test of, who's really your friend and who isn't. but she didn't really have much family. And that's kind of what I've noticed about, uh, you know, people that seem to really have these great friendships and stuff. A lot of times are lacking, when it comes to family for one reason or the other. And but I said all that to say, the thing about it was is that it was a valid point that she brought up, but this was coming from somebody that had lived in the same area, not necessarily the same city, but the same basic area their entire life. And so they were able to keep in touch with these people that they went to high school with, and these people that they went to college with, and these people that they grew up with. And so it was easier for them to maintain this system and network of friends. Whereas, when you move around different states and you go different places, you meet a lot of different people. And you don't, it's difficult to really maintain, it's the test of whether or not those are just friendships or really deep and long lasting friendships. Like, I mean, I have friendships with people that live in different states that I've met in various different places, college and the military. Um, but I know that they're true friends because there's an effort that has to be made on my part and theirs to continue any sort of friendship. But I guess, I say all that to say, um, it is somewhat depressing to an extent. And I think that that's a problem that we have within MGTOW. I feel like there are a lot of benefits to being on your own for sure, but it's something that I think every man going his own way has to contend with here. That's a lot of the whole relationship issue to start with. We all wanted to meet somebody that no matter where we went, no matter where we go, um, that person was going to be there with us and be a constant and be, a support to us and vice versa. And I think that's why a lot of us, when we get hit with that reality that doesn't truly exist, it's a blow to us because a lot of us are really longing for that. We're wanting that connection with a person on that level. And it's difficult to make friends. It's difficult. I mean, it's pretty easy to make acquaintances, and there are people at work that I'm friends with and get along with, and occasionally we do things. But most of these people, I would never share a lot of my thoughts, and would expose any kind of vulnerability with them, simply, well, for various reasons. But that was just something I kind of wanted to just share. It was just something that was kind of on my mind because I don't feel like we do a very good job a lot of times of supporting one another. And a lot of times we're content to just cast people out to the wolves, so to speak. And maybe it's not our job. Maybe, that's not our place, I guess, to shepherd one another. But I really do wish that there was more of that in MGTOW. I know it's, men going our own way. We're all going our separate paths and everything. But I mean, and even though we may share a lot of similar core principles, I mean, there's a lot of things, interests and beliefs maybe that I would have that somebody else wouldn't have. But at the same time, that's just something that I wish we saw more of in MGTOW, because I think it's something that really exacerbates the problems that are already there. I mean, the society's already against us. The culture's already against us. In some ways, biology is against us. And so it just seems that, normal or rational that we, if nothing else, we would support one another, even if I didn't necessarily agree with everything that you believed or that you thought, that, I could still support you and you could still support me. If you'll notice a lot of my videos, I was going to mention, I noticed Steve Hoka has deleted his his content again. So I don't really know what that's about, but if I bring him up because he mentioned in one of his videos about solutions, that we don't offer solutions, that the MGTOW gurus, the MGTOW philosophers do not offer any solutions. And I've said it here before, and I'll say it again. I don't have any solutions. If you've noticed, a lot of my channels is not about really giving you the answer, the key to life. I feel like we're working together, we're reasoning together, as they would say. And so I don't know what the answer is. It's something that, I've dealt with off and on, as far as, it would be nice to have more friends. It would be nice to have more meaningful friendships, not just friends, but meaningful friendships. But here I am, I'm only getting older, and people are only, the march of time goes on, so I don't really know what the answer is. I guess maybe we could be more intentional and more mindful when it comes to interacting with one another. A lot of this channel is me asking you guys, what do you think? What are some of your solutions? What are some of your ideas? It would be cool maybe to even at some point, I don't ever want MGTOW to become a movement, but it would be cool to have some sort of hub, maybe a MGTOW convention or something where once a year or whatever, everybody could come together and exchange ideas and fellowship, so to speak. And that's one thing that I think is really missing. And it was even kind of missing in the military to an extent, this whole brotherhood. It's hard to find any real brotherhood. And of course, a lot of that is because of the competition that there is to find, to find somebody and to compete with one another for women and this, that, and the other. But in MGTOW, this shouldn't be an issue. And so I don't know. Again, I don't want it to become a movement. But at the same time, it's kind of okay, well, I figured the truth out. I've figured all these wonderful mysteries of the universe out. And somebody on one of the other videos really appreciated my mentioning of Chris McCandless. And, again, whether you agree with the decision that he made or whatever the case may be, I think he did have a good point when he, we all want to go out. I mean, I would love nothing more than to live in a cabin in the woods and be self-sufficient, or to strike out and go to Alaska. I think that's a fantasy of a lot of guys, but he does bring up a cogent point in that happiness, to an extent, is only real, or possibly only meaningful, when shared. Now, I don't think that necessarily means that it has to be with a woman, and I don't necessarily think that was his point either. That some of the happiest people that I've met are people that it wasn't because they had the nicest car, the biggest house, or all these playthings or whatever. It was because they had a community, they had a network of people, and they didn't maybe have some nice fishing boat to go out on the weekends, but sitting around and drinking a beer or two with one another and just enjoying the company of one another, was more valuable to them than anything that they could buy with money. So I don't know, just some food for thought. Again, this is just kind of a free form, and would be interested in hearing your all's take on it. A lot of it's just disjointed. The society's disjointed because of the technology, because of social media, and things of that nature. And I don't want it to be a rant on, an anti-technology rant or anything like that. But I mean, the fact of the matter is that yes, things have changed, for better or for worse. And I guess the answer is, to see who those people who are in your life and who do make the effort, and to cultivate that and cherish that and be happy with that and try to put more back into that, as well as to maybe try to meet others that could also be that type of friend in your life. And it's important to develop yourself so that you can also be that type of friend back for them. Well, as always, you're free to do as you're told. This has been the Days of Thunder. I am John Knott.